Thank you very much. My name's Nick, I'm an addict. Thank you, Tony, before I forget, for inviting me to share. And I thought it was going to be empty in here tonight because it's a storm. I thought it's blowing a hoolie out there, it'd be empty, there'd be a few people here, it'd be nice and easy. And I've come in and it's not like that at all. So my God's got a sense of humour, obviously. And what is it? Is this the first share this year or the second you've had it? The first, so I could be the best share you've had here this year.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to say? It's all right, isn't it? It's quite an accolade. So I might sound a bit wispy, if for want of a word, because I've lost a tooth in the front of my head due to consequences way back when in my using, and it's a funny thing because New Year's Day, I used for years and years, long time, and I've been here a little while. And New Year's Day, I'm still dressing I've got leg ulcers, a leg ulcer on my leg, and I'm going away next week, and I want to swim in the sea and stuff like that. So I'm saying to my leg, please get better, leg, and I'm talking to my leg, and then I've had to sit down, and I've got this cement from Amazon to put my tooth back in. Do you know what I mean? And I'm doing this stuff New Year's Day, and the tooth's not going back in anymore because I put it in a few times, and I said to my girlfriend, I went, it's not going back in anymore, this tooth. And you know what? I could laugh at myself about this stuff. I don't get all twisted up anymore about it, and I can just roll with these sorts of consequences that I still have in my recovery, which is, it's quite a thing for me to do that. So my name's Nick, I'm an addict. I am. If you listen, you don't have to use like me. Some of you might be worse than me, some of you might not be as bad as me, and it doesn't really matter. If you've been in a room and you've been isolated and separated and you can't stop, and you're messing your life up, then you could be one of us. I know I'm definitely suffer with this disease. So my step one is 100% in this, and I'm a glue sniffer from a young age, Tipex and that sort of thing, and I love the glue, and I could do with a bag of glue now to get over these nerves. If anyone's got a bag of glue, I could just quickly go down like this, and then I'd be off if that was the case. And I love the glue. If I could still get away with doing it, I'd be doing it today. And that was at between 11 and 13 years old. And the glue was the one that done it for me, and it done a few things for me. And what it did, right, it took away my fears and anxieties around school. So I'd go up the cemetery with all the dead people, and I found a lot of peace in the cemetery for some strange reason as a young kid. And I always wanted to be up the cemetery and spend time in the cemetery. It felt like a really safe place for me. And it took away my fears and anxieties around school and the way I would judge myself and compare myself to other kids and other people in the class. And I slid down the classes really quick. I was in the top class because they made a mistake, obviously. And as we went through, like the first and second year, I just slid further and further down. And what I know now is I struggled with concentration, and I struggled with anxiety, and I struggled to sit still. And I was just told I was a bad kid, when really, like, I've obviously got a few other issues going on. And I just used to, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I would just die thinking I've got to sit here all morning. It would just break my heart to sit there. And what I'd done, I just went off with a bunch of kids, and we went up the cemetery. I'd get my mark, I'd go up there, sniff glue, go home, and I'd try and keep the glue away from my mum, trying to smell, and she'd smell the glue on me, and I'd get in all sorts of trouble, and there'd be more consequences to that as I went along. And that's how I spent like my teenage years up the cemetery, glue sniffing. I slept up there. We got a tent. We used to sleep up there. It was like proper hardcore using from a young age. So and I slowly progressed through the drugs, and I loved the trips and the weed and the bongs, and we'd all sit in my bedroom, all the lads and that. I had a Binatone stereo back in the day, and we'd all get stoned, and hot knives and red leb and ash and all of that sort of thing. And I'd be trying to, on the trips, I'd be trying to roll up the white line in the middle of the road at night, tripping out my box, you know, trying to get this, and that sort of thing. And I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed that time of my adolescence and of my using, and that's how I spent my years growing up. I'm just trying to give you an outline of a picture, right, of what a hard work it become later on for me. And I found hard drugs, and I stopped for a bit, found the hard drugs, and then I just went off like a ski jump. It talks about it in the book, and I just went and I was gone. And I went from working to having my own business, to working with my dad, and I was always saying sorry to people. I was always like trying to make up for things in relationships, and I went from that until about 26 years old. I was proper gone on the heroin and the crack, and I had a magic marker in the groin. Anyone else done that in here? Let's just no, my own in this. So I could see where I'd went into my groin, you know, and I'd be using with people that was old school drug addicts, and they were fucked. So like they was teaching me, they were sponsoring me how to use. So I was going in with big needles, you know, big needles that you shouldn't be using. Yeah, and like it just like the progression, and it's a progressive illness, and I ended up like in all sorts of places, and I King's Cross on crutches, you know, and my girlfriends were trying to help me in the early years and trying to like keep me on track, and then my girlfriends got worse, and you know they wasn't users at the beginning, and then they were users, and you know the sort of girlfriends like, you know, you'd be sitting there with them and you'd be having a pipe, and then you'd look round and the crack would be gone, and be like, where's the crack gone? Where's that gone? You know. And I ain't took that crack, no, you ain't, no. All of that, you know, all of that stuff, and I think, yeah, I was up King's Cross, and I'd just been released from hospital, and I'd done a lot of damage to my leg, and I was homeless, and I was living in a car. I had a car, but I was living in it, and the blanket was frozen in this car, and I got up. It was like this, and I got up. It was cold like this. And the blanket was frozen, and I jumped out of the car to have a hit, freezing cold, and I'd done a load of damage to my leg, and I didn't go and get it done, and I carried on committing crime and doing all this stuff, and ended up in hospital for quite a long time, and and then got released, and I'm on these crutches, and I've got this girlfriend, and she's absolutely mental, this girl I was with. I had twins with her. We had twins in the end. It was crazy, and I can't keep up with her, and she's looked round. It was one of them moments, yeah, in your life, and I'm hobbling along on these crutches, and she's in front of me, and she's just looked round, and she's gone, come on, like that, and she's looked at me, you know, when you just think, like, this is the love of my life here, and like, yeah, coming from having work, a nice family, a progression in drugs that was quite rapid for me, to find myself in them sort of situations that I didn't want to be in. It just went really quickly for me, and I'd go from relationship where I had twins with her, and then I'd have another child with someone else, and then I'd come out of prison and then meet someone else, and I'd nowhere to live, and then I'd have another child, and you know, and I was trying to fight for these children that was always going to be adopted out, and the care system does work, because they really did need to be protected from us, for sure. It does work, and Yeah, it's really really hard when your kids are being taken. We was in Whitechapel Hospital with the twins, and social services come up, and she just had the baby, and one of them was downstairs in the intensive care, and one was with us, and we're flat out users, and social services just come in and just took the baby out of the cot as quick as that, and we was just sitting there in this ward. The babies were all screaming, and we just had a balloon on this cot, and we was just looking at each other, two flat out drunkies that have never really had any chance. We was both the same in the same sense, as in we never had a chance to experience any real life, because the drugs had it just suppressed us so much. So you just don't know what to do with yourself. The only thing you can do is just go and use again, so which is what we did. And 20 minutes after we left the hospital, I got nicked. The police jumped on me, and I never see him again. After that was in 2000. I never see any of them again from then on. She looked round at me as the police were taking away, and she thought, I've had enough of him. Do you know what I mean? It's too much. And that was the way it went on. And I'm grateful, so grateful I found this program, this fellowship, and I literally feel like I'm right in the middle tonight, because we are in the middle, so to speak. And without this, I dread to think where I'd be. And if you're in here and you're clean and you found this and you've got to surrender, you're really, really lucky tonight. And it took me so long to get here. And my surrender come about after lots of 9 or 10 treatment centres and detoxes, trips to psych wards, voluntary trips. 3 of them I done. Lots of prison sentences and stuff like that, and I found a surrender in prison, and got clean in there, and done quite well in the prison system for once in my life, and I got moved out of there to somewhere else, and went on a program in there, and it changed my life. It changed my life. And do you know what it was? It was a really easy thing for me. Do you know what it was? And I didn't even know what I was doing at that point. I just went and started helping people, and that's the essence of this program. You know, if you help people, you'll be all right. And that's what it's always fundamentally in me to go and help people rather than keep helping ourselves. This is what we do. It's so common in addiction. And I just went and started helping people, and I'd help people that wouldn't even want to be helped. I don't even care, do you know what I mean? I don't even care what you're doing here. If you want some help, I'll help you. And they used to say to me, like, you know, even the ones that like, it was just like over on this wing because they was just getting decats, so it was part of their sentence plan or whatever, and lots of people were using and stuff. And I'd still try and help them regardless, with no judgment. And I come out, and I went to Bristol for a little while, and then I come to Bournemouth, and I got a sponsor down here, and it changed everything for me from when I'd done that. And I see what the fellowship was like in Bournemouth, and it was July 2013. I was clean about a year, and I got a sponsor down here. My wife at that time, she wasn't my wife then, she used to follow this guy around. She went, my nit's coming out of prison soon, will you sponsor him when he comes down here? She said, my nit's coming out. And I thank her so much for that. And when I got down here, I said to her, I might go to another fellowship, and she looked at me, she went, you'll die, Nick, if you do that. She said, you need power and you need it quick. You need to go into CA. And this guy that was sponsoring me, he said you need to do all CA. He said you need to get service position. He said, and you need to be into action, which I was. And I went and done voluntary. I've done lots of voluntary. So there was a part of me that wanted to heal from all the damage I'd done in the past in institutions. And I just went and done some voluntary in this place, which was a treatment centre, for some healing for myself. And I find most people that do voluntary when they're early on, they seem to really do well. And that's what I done from then on. And I've never looked back really. I've had times in recovery where it's been really tight, really hard. I'm going to say it's all been good, because it ain't. It's been really dark at times, and I've been at a place where you can't reach me. You know, I've been like in a period of 7 years, 8 years clean, and I'm gone. I'd come into a meetings, I can't hear any message. I can't hear what's being said. I'm so unwell, and thank God I got through that stuff. And yeah, thank you. I've got some of them children back in my life today, and my grandkids back. On the outside stuff, I've had an adopted son. One of the kids that was adopted out early in 2000, he's just come and found me. It's been a real experience. It's kind of like I was with his mum. I feel like saying to him, I was with his mum for a week. You know what I mean? And now I feel like saying to him, look, I was only with her for a week. I don't really need to be doing this. If there's a part of me that wants to shirk that responsibility off. I wouldn't do that, of course, because I've learnt in this program not to do that. But there is a part of me that wants to do that. And we sat in the car on the M25, and this is the thing: his mum was in this program, and she relapsed, and she's back in prison, and we sat in the car, and he's the second time he'd seen me, and he's going from the DNA test with me on the M25. He's going to Downview Prison to see his mum that he ain't seen since he was taken off in the contact centre when he was 1 year old. He's 24, this boy, and he's got in the car, right, and he was absolutely shaking. Bless him, he was shaking. And I said to him, "Are you all right?" And he went, "Yeah." He said, "I'm very nervous about going to meet his mum. And we're doing this DNA test, and it's pissing down the rain." I said, "I never thought I'd be doing a DNA test in a car like this." And he looked at me and went, neither did I. I said, "At least you stopped shaking." And yeah. What I'm trying to say is, when I was doing all that stuff, I never thought I never thought I was going to live. I never thought long enough to think what was going to happen, because it was so progressive, the illness. I never realised, like, this stuff where I'm going to be like doing my leg New Year's Day, trying to stick a tooth in, doing the DNA test, all of this sort of thing that just comes with all of them years of all that madness that I've still got to take care of today. Do you know what I mean? And it's a strange thing. I've learned some wonderful things about this program and about myself. I've learned I like Tai Chi as I've got older in my older years. Can you imagine that? From glue sniffing up the cemetery in Peckham, to like practicing Tai Chi, and like, knowing that I suffer with anxiety, and it's all right to say that, and I'm a little bit all over the place in my mind, and that's all right as well, and I can be there for other people, and I can sponsor people today, which is great, and I can give back and do service, and I can hit my knees and I can pray, and I'm not ashamed to say that. It's a God program, it's an inward program, as I've learned now as I go along further. And I've got a place inside of me now where I can go that's a safe place, and I never had that before. I would always go outside and try and find drugs to give me an illusion that I was safe. And all these years, all this time, it's been within me, it's been inside of me, and it's such an experience to find that out in me. And I've had the great. Everyone had a nice Happy New Year, everybody. By the way, I hope you all had a nice Christmas. And I've had some dreadful Christmases in the past, and I've had a really nice one. I've had some tough ones in recovery as well. And I've had my grandkids and my daughter, and it's been really nice. I went and stayed with them. With my ex-wife has been with us for a dinner Christmas Eve. My ex-partner's been with me. It's been a bit strange, fair to say, because I don't really want to look at, there's like stuff that I've, anyway.
A few dynamics.
Yeah, there's a few things going on, and my kids, my grandkids, you know, and all of that. And we've been dancing in the kitchen Christmas Eve and all of that stuff, and putting my little grandson to bed. He's 5 years old, and I can feel him bursting, breaking his neck, trying to go to sleep because he wants Christmas Day to come out. and it's so nice. And how quickly time goes. How quickly it all goes. It's, you know, time is just time, isn't it? It's not really what it is, but you know. And it really is about making the most of everything in life, and grabbing what you can and finding your happiness. And I've got a job. I'm responsible. I care about people. I love my family. There is no more going to prison. This program, there's no more prison sentences. There's no more probation officers. There's no more using. There's no more crack pipes. There's no more crutches. Come on. There's no more of that stuff anymore. Do you know more? There's no more bitter pain and all of that stuff. All gone through this program, and I'm so grateful that's happened. And I wake up in the morning and I'm just so pleased that I'm in my own bed. You know, I've got my job, I've got my old car that might start when I go out to it, it might not, you know, and I can mess about with all of that stuff, you know, rather than it being a stolen car and stolen clothes and stolen money as it all was before. And all thanks to this program. Thanks for letting me share.